Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another ORL Split B race. This time we are going back to Germany for round 11. I am Milky Cereal, and joining me tonight is a very good co-commentator and an absolute child, Maku Kalsva. How are you both doing?
I'm doing very, very well, so I don't know who wants to start, but I took it.
Yeah, no.
How are you, Casper?
Hocken whoop whoop. Let's
Whoop,
go,
whoop.
baby.
Let's
Right.
go back to Germany again.
Roll.
I will clarify to all of our viewers that Kalsper promised to be sensible. So if he isn't sensible, we have permission just to kick him. And that will probably be happening at some point. However, Maku, we've seen Germany before. We saw Split A here, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was a great race, but this time with the Split B drivers, last time out in Silverstone, we saw a couple of spins here and there, and at Germany with a few auto spin curves, especially at Sachs, it might be a little bit of a tricky race.
Yeah, I think it will be, and we will see again, especially at the exit of the Sachs curve, and maybe we will be seeing something like happened in the real F1, and especially if it gets rainy, then the track gets even slipperier.
Now, if I remember correctly, when we were commentating on the I can't remember now if it was Silverstone, but there were changeable conditions at one race, and I'm not sure if it was Silverstone or Germany.
I think it was Silverstone, but I don't know right now.
Okay. We'll have to wait.
I remember that too, but yeah.
Okay, as practice has begun, and we were trying to skip practice, but a 15-minute delay to the start of the event, and we now have 30 minutes worth of practice to grind through here. Also, good news, we've got fourth place man in the championship. Black Panther is returning after an absence last time out at Silverstone, so it'll be interesting to see whether he can be challenging at the sharp end of the field.
He's a bit sick today.
Has he told you that himself, Calcifer?
Yep.
Right.
That's why he wasn't sure if he's racing or not.
Oh. Fair enough. Right. Well, let's jump on board then with... Who should we go on board with? Let's go on board with Safso. We don't usually get a chance to sit on board with the Haas man. Pretty decent result last time out at Silverstone. I think he was doing quite well, and then either there was an issue or something did happen, but he is quick nonetheless, and let's see what he can pull out here at Germany.
Who will win?
Who will win is always the question. Alright, obviously though... Yeah, Safso strong. Ooh, almost has a moment. Actually, that reminds me, Maku. Last year, I remember we had David Tunisa and the other F1 esports driver. They were racing here. It was the John Alazy youth driver or something. And through turn one, the two of them came together and they just both went into the walls. It was
Haddad?
Was it Haddad?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so those two came together through turn one, went into the wall, and that was a bit of a shame because they both ended up DNFing. I think it brought out the virtual safety car as well. But of course, in the championship itself, currently Quittert is climbing up the standings with a win last time out. He is sitting 6th in the championship. Leading the championship though is Speed Boost on 146, who extended his lead to Iceman after finishing at 2nd last time out. Hypnotize currently sits in 3rd, ahead of Black Panther and Mark. In the constructors though, Mercedes are leading ahead of Williams, who are only 2 points ahead of Haas, with Ferrari sitting in 5th ahead of Racing Point.
I have some news. It's raining in the race.
Oh, that will be funny. That will be interesting.
There we go. So Calcifer doing his job as our man in the pit lane for once and giving us some good info on what to expect for the race. And I guess it's also going to make things very interesting for qualifying as well, Maku. How many people will go for that dry setup and how many people will go for a wet race setup?
Especially the question is, how long will it rain? So will it be better to use the dry setup? You know,
Yeah.
go a bit of a risk and take the dry setup onto the wet road, or take it wet all the race.
And of course, very interesting as well, just to try to understand whether Jeff will actually make a prediction correct for once and actually tell you when the rain will stop. However, here comes Safso to complete, well, his second lap, as his first lap was invalidated. What's it going to be? It's going to come across the line for a 1:15.7, and it's only enough for 4th, as Iceman currently top of the timing sheets with a 1:13.3 on the medium compound tires.
Maybe you want to go on board with Lou. What do you think?
Let's go on board with Lou, the first female in ORL, if I am not mistaken. And currently sitting in 19th, and I remember at Silverstone when I was commentating with you, Kals, for talking, you know, Lou seemed a bit quick, and then in practice and qualifying really fell off the pace. But in the race, she came back strong and actually managed to finish 4th behind Safso and ahead of Iceman. Also, I do remember, Kalsfer, Lou actually being our favorite driver from the day because, as we can currently see, is wearing that fantastic pumpkin helmet.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that. It's quite nice.
There we go. And it's not glitching this time, so you can't see a visor. It's actually Oh wait, no, you can sometimes. Okay, never mind. Codemasters always glitches anyway. But that is a very... So maybe for Christmas, Codemasters can release a Santa Claus helmet where you just look like Santa Claus. Or maybe you can look like you're driving a reindeer. I don't know. I'm sure Codemasters will think of something.
Oh! No, not just the reindeer. The whole sleigh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With a lot of reindeers.
That should be the F1 2019 Christmas event special. Sled reindeer racing. There we go. Just fully go off into some Mario Kart. Iceman, though, still at the top of the standings with a 1:13.3. Speed Booster down in second. Almost a second. Actually, what am I saying? Almost. Over a second off the pace, with Deacon a further half a second back in third.
Well, depends on if they're all doing hot laps right now or just race laps or if they're just testing how long their tires will last. So
yeah, and Kalsfer, as a driver yourself in Split A, you know, how do you usually approach these practice sessions?
Practicing. That's how easy it is.
See, Maku, I said, didn't I? It would be a terrible idea to bring him in. Ah. I do not know why I succumbed to his pressures.
Actually, if we will have a practice session, then I'm usually going with a lot of fuel and test the race pace.
Fair enough. As pole position is disqualified from the session for blocking the pit lane, because that is a thing. And yeah, well, that's his practice over for him. So if I was him, I'd, you know, jump out of the session, go into my own personal practice, and then jump back in before qualifying starts.
Imagine you could do that in real life.
Just knock everyone off the track and then just start going around yourself regardless.
Yeah.
It was actually quite
They
interesting.
go. Yeah.
When I was at the F1 esports event yesterday for, I think it was what, round 3 of the 2019 season.
Even three.
That's what I said.
Yeah, even three.
Yeah.
Round.
Round 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Round
7, 8, 9. There you
7,
go.
8, 9.
Right.
Yep.
Stop.
Exact.
Can you just listen to the story for a second here, Calcifer? Okay. So I was at the F1 esports event. So what they do is they have the first 2 races. They're pre-recorded. And the commentators, they commentate over the recording, which I was thinking, wow, that's amazing, isn't it, Maku? We could commentate and have no issues that we wouldn't be able to foresee. And everything would happen on schedule, and it'd be amazing.
That would be actually great.
So for the next races, I'm going to end up recording the A-split races. Then an hour after it happens, we'll then commentate over a recording that I've made.
No. We could do that, but you know, the should start like, I don't know, quarter an hour before you start your stream, and then you set the right delay in your stream. So basically, in the stream, everything is on time, but actually, it happened like 15 minutes ago.
That's true. Although it does become a bit harder to communicate with the chat when we go down that line. Speed Booster has got within half a second of Iceman as the chosen bird up into 3rd place. Everyone opting for those medium tires pretty much, with a few going for the hards and the softs. As actually, Quitter is out on circuit, so let's ride on board with him. He won the last race. In fact, I think he's won 2 or 3 of his last 4 events. So Quitter is exceptionally quick right now and making his way into the Sud curve to either complete or start a lap. And it looks like he is going to be completing a lap. So only enough for 3rd, as it is going to be McLaren from Renault from Haas. That is the top 3. Safso, though, is very quick in the other half, so he could be making his way up, and this could potentially be the race where Haas jump ahead of McLaren and potentially Williams. They are only 15 and 17 points behind, respectively.
Oh, Lewis just spun off in Parabolica.
Who spins off in Parabolica? Oh, it must have been on the exit of turn 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
The entry to the Parabolica.
Yeah, I've got to say, if someone spins in Parabolica, no offense, but they probably should not be racing.
Oh, no. How is that work?
I mean, Parabolica is even easier than Curva Grande, so yes. As I remember when we were at Germany for Split A, Maku, and we were having a bit of fun commenting on the names that Parkenheim had come up with for some of their corners.
I don't know what they did with that, but
oh, right. Anyway, though, Lou will be making her way around to start a 2nd lap on those soft tyres at the moment, but has done 5 laps on them, so I'm not sure if she is trying to do a bit of a race sim at the minute.
Seems so.
As who else can we sit with? Hypnotize is in the pits. Mark not racing today. Remember back to Silverstone last week where he had a couple of incidents. One was with, I believe, Velocity, and there was a second with someone else, and his whole race went down the gutter. Actually, let's sit on board with a fan favorite, Mealy. I remember last week he had a lot of fans in the chat. I'm looking forward to seeing some more melee support in the YouTube chat again tonight.
Fanboys.
Fanboys, yes. See,
Yep.
Calcifer doesn't like it when people talk about fanboys because in Split A, when he's racing, he doesn't have any fanboys. So he's very sad.
I don't send stream to any. That's why it.
Oh, right. Oh, by the way, Calcifer, yesterday I forgot to say to Danny and James that you said hi. So sorry. Oh no, like literally, Maku. Calcifer was spamming me like all evening saying say hi to Danny and James for me. I was like yeah. And I think I actually went up to them to say, and then I just like completely forgot in the conversation. Don't worry, Calcifer, they wouldn't have remembered who you are anyway. Yes.
You see how toxic Milk is.
I mean, you were supposed to come with me to the esports event, Calcifer.
Invite me.
I mean, you didn't ask to come.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So
not asking
okay.
usually.
Next time, right? You have to ask. I'll ask Danny to get me an invite again, and you can ask Crow. There you go.
No, I can ask Danny.
See, you remember Crow, don't you, Calcifer? You used to crash into him a lot last season.
When?
Wasn't it Canada, or was that with Photon?
Canada, was it Mark?
Was Mark? Oh yeah, that was funny. So last year, Maku, Calcifer, he started off the season. He was winning the races, right? So this was when I didn't like Calcifer. Okay, so the season started. Calcifer was winning races, but every race, somebody else should have won the race, but something would happen to them. So one race,
Consistent.
I used to call you Mr. Consistent, right? So one race, Crow was winning, and then he spun into turn 3, and Mark, who was in second, crashed into him. Sorry, it was turn 4, and then look who comes through and takes the lead. It's Calcifer, and this kept happening like every race because then we went to Monaco, and the race winner should have been Photon, and then something happened there as well.
No.
Yeah.
Mark.
Oh, was it Mark again? Oh, yeah. Mark was supposed to win the race, and we had another driver at the time, Maku, called Vader. And Vader didn't know. Vader was like me in the wet. He didn't know how to drive. So when Mark came to lap Vader in the wet, Vader hit him and took Mark out of the race. Yes, that's what happened. And then we had to redo the race.
No. It was first race. Vader took out Crow and Mark race got cancelled and we restarted.
Yeah.
Then it was me and Mark. Vader was disqualified. He couldn't race. And then Mark, I think, lost his front wing, and then safety car came out, and then he went into the pits, or virtual safety car came out, and
as
then
soon as he came in the pits, the virtual safety car ended, and then you got ahead of him. Yeah. And like Mark could have just stayed out on the track, and he would have won the race as well. So that was, yeah. So that was a shame. And then Canada came round. And this time, Mark and Photon, they were looking fast. NLE Jury was there. NLE Jury had an issue and he crashed. But Mark and Calcifer were racing. And Calcifer decided, you know what's a good idea? Trying to hold it around the outside or something into the final chicane. He ended up spinning and he went into the wall of champions.
No, I didn't spin. I got touched by Mark and then just I went into the wall and I lost my
front. It wasn't Mark's fault though, that time. That time it wasn't.
I'm not commentating.
And that ended Calcifer's win streak. Or like, Calcifer had been on the podium every single race for like the last 15 races. And that ended it there.
Yeah, but they still won the championship.
So,
consistent.
and then what happened, right, is this madman. So because Photon joined, Photon went over to Velocity, and Photon was like, "Hey guys at Velocity, I've been racing in ORL. It's really great fun. Do you guys want to come and join?" And somebody called Formula Danny was like, "Oh, I'd love to join. I'm going to join." And so did this other dude called Williams Isaac. So they joined, and then we had the best race ever at Austria, and Formula Danny won that. And that's when Calcifer realized that he might lose his championship, because despite being about 150 points in the lead, Formula Danny started winning every single race. This was like, it didn't matter who turned up. It didn't matter if it was Photon. It didn't matter if it was a James. It didn't matter if Tim turned up. It didn't matter if Isaac was there. Danny won every single race. And the only race he didn't win was one race at Hockenheim, where he decided to have, in quotation marks, fun by going for a 2-stop strategy instead of a 1-stop strategy. And he ruined it.
I think he didn't win in Austria as well and Brazil.
No, he won in Austria.
No, Isaac won
Money
in
had a...
Austria.
So Money's blocking the pit. So anyone who spins through turn 1 right now ends up blocking the pit lane and then gets disqualified. So goodbye Money. Weebs is also... I don't think...
So
yeah.
Do you remember how I won the championship?
Yeah, so Maku. So last year, heading into the final race, Formula Danny was set. Formula Danny was set to win it. We had calculated from a while back, and Formula Danny just had to win every race, and Calcifer just had to like finish 4th in the races, and Danny would win. But the thing was, because people like Timp and James and Photon would turn up, and Fabrizio Donoso would turn up, Calcifer couldn't beat them, so he was always the best of the rest. So the championship was literally coming down to how many F1 esports drivers turn up. If lots of them turn up, it doesn't affect Danny, because Danny's going to win anyway, and it would mean that Calcifer finishes further and further back. So heading into the final race, Fabrizio Donoso was there, Tim was there, and I think James was there as well. And it was going...
Wait, James. No, James wasn't. Fabrizio, Tim, Danny, Photon, and him.
Yeah, so it was all going...
And another Hungarian guy, Carrix, or it's called something like...
So, in the final race, it was all going really well for Formula Danny. He was looking in top form. Calcifer was like down at 9th because there were just so many esports drivers. He just couldn't get ahead.
Yeah,
so...
no, Müller was poking me.
So, into the final... So, into the final... Like, the end... Towards the end of the race, someone disconnected. So, Calcifer was jumping up the order. And it was looking worse and worse for Formula Danny, who...
No one disconnected.
He actually...
No one disconnected.
Someone disconnected. I remember someone disconnecting.
No one disconnected.
Okay, right. Can you just let me tell the story, Calcifer?
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
The story wrong way.
Right. Like, if anyone doesn't believe me, they can go and check the video. It's on this it's on this channel.
That's why I correct you.
Okay, thank you. Right. So anyway, so heading in towards the end. Oh, Esquita has a massive moment out of turn 1. Never mind at that though. So Formula Danny leading the championship in 2nd. He doesn't have the pace to catch up to Fabrizio Donoso, but the 3 of them, him, so Donoso's leading, Danny 2nd, and Timp is 3rd. Then, on the last lap of the race, Timp gets ahead, and he slows Danny down. Like, he purposely backs off and holds Danny down so that he can't win the championship.
On the last second.
And, yeah, and what also happened was that Danny disconnected with, like, 4 corners to go. So Danny's ghosting car was trying to make it to the end, but with Timp holding him up, Danny finished. Danny had a time penalty. And that time penalty...
No, Danny didn't have a time.
Oh, Donoso had a time penalty.
Yeah, and Tim had a time penalty.
Yeah, so Tim... Okay, right. Okay, I remember now. Shut up. Listen, Tim had a time penalty, as did Donoso. Danny was within a second of Donoso, so didn't have to do anything, so he was going to win and take the championship. Tim then held Danny up, and with the ghosting as well, it meant that Danny finished like 3.4 seconds behind Donoso, and finished 2nd, and Calcifer won the championship. by a disconnect with 10 seconds remaining in the race.
Wow.
So yeah, so there's Danny and Timp don't get on because they've had a lot of incidents in F1 esports, in AOR, and in ORL now as well.
And you know,
Well,
all
but at least the championship was exciting until the end.
Yeah.
Can-
Also, Danny would have won anyway. He was going to win in Brazil, but he went for a 2-stop or something. But when he came out on fresher tires, yeah, Calcifer was ahead and literally ran Danny off the track. It was disgusting.
I did. What are you talking? I didn't run him off the track. I was just blocking him.
It was amazing. Watch the Brazil highlights from last year. Okay, Calcifer didn't cross the line, but he towed that line. Like that was close to being really, really dirty. But it was enough to stop Danny from winning the race. And yeah, it won the championship. Good job, Calcifer.
It was by half a second on
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi, not by 3.4.
Yeah, 3.4. So when the 3 seconds comes into play, it's only 0.4 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, that's why Formula Danny didn't become an ORL champion, and he's not racing enough races this year to win it either. Unless now he starts turning up, in which case I think he can still win it. Yeah. He can do it. I mean, he pretty much did it last year, and he has actually turned up to some races this year. So I believe I want Danny to win a championship.
It's because you met.
Yeah, I haven't met you though. How I Calcifer you? See,
Yeah.
Did you invite
You
me
don't
to
pay.
F1 esports? No. So there you
Yes,
go.
I said how you can get it here.
So guys in the chat, if you would like me to tilt Calcifer more, just ask me any random questions about F1 esports, and I'll gladly answer them for you. And also, it has a double effect of annoying Calcifer, so we're all winners here. Right. Meanwhile, Maku's just thinking,
So toxic
what's happening here?
But man, can you talk that Abu Dhabi race through again? Because you were all wrong at the beginning and had to correct yourself 100 times, and no one can understand nothing in there.
Look, if anyone wants to find out what happened, there's 4 minutes left of practice. Head over onto the YouTube channel, find the Abu Dhabi live stream, and watch the last lap of the race, and you'll see what happened. And James was in that race, and he did disconnect. That's why you won. That's why you won the championship, regardless.
I didn't think he was in there.
Yeah. See, I think James should have just taken you out, but oh well.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the race.
Right. Anyhow, so we have managed to talk about things for long enough so that now there are only 3 minutes left in practice. There were 20 minutes, so I think we've done a good job here, guys.
Yeah.
Round of applause. Good job.
Yep. James wasn't in the race.
James wasn't in the race.
Yes.
I don't know.
It was KMHG3RR.
Oh God, I remember. I haven't seen that guy in ages. Also, I miss Crow. Crow used to be my favorite driver. I think he still is my favorite driver. I really like Crow. Because the first time I ever casted was him absolutely smashing Calcifer. Then he spun. Mark smashed into him. He had to pit for a front wing change, and then he like just absolutely tore through the field.
Wow.
So, yeah, I like Crow a lot. And now he's in F1 esports. So Crow, Danny, and James are my drivers. There you go.
But it's qualifying coming up. I'm gonna leave.
Okay. Are you going to be our man in the pit lane, Mr. Calcifer?
Don't think so.
Okay, you were just our guest to fill time during practice.
Yes.
to correct
can.
you in your story.
Oh, yes, thank you.
I can join
Ruining
with
the
the session,
story.
so it's can join with the session, so it's
Yeah, I mean, just to clarify, I was giving a story, like, it's like when you watch a film and it says based off a true story. It's not entirely accurate, but it's based off a true story, and therefore it's more interesting than the
You
actual story
spoiled.
itself.
You spoiled it.
What, by saying who won the championship?
Rain is after 20 minutes.
What do you mean?
There
In the race?
There are reports coming in the
No,
pit.
no, no, wait, hang on.
Rain coming.
Right,
coming,
guys,
there's-
Calcifer has a little toy, so, Maku, we're going to pass it over to our correspondent in the pit lane, Calcifer, who's got a little bit of an update on the weather situation.
So I'm standing here next to the Williams pit call, and there's Williams head crew telling me that there's rain coming in race after 20 minutes. Thank you for that. And
thank you very
you can
much.
commentate.
However, Calcifer, he forgot to include some certain sounds, so we're going to hand it back over to Calcifer, who's got some very important information on the weather.
There's rain coming.
Do you not have
After
it?
20
So, before we came live, guys, Calcifer had an
I'm
engine...
joking.
Can you take this seriously, Calcifer? Like, we spent a lot of time practicing this.
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. Don't forget, you guys in the chat, let us know who you are supporting. Speed Booster currently leading things with a 1 at 12.4 on the soft tires. The Chosen Bird is in second, but oh, we've got some news from Calcifer. Okay, no, we don't. Right, we're experiencing some technical difficulties, and we can't receive any audio from Calcifer at the moment, as Mealy and Barney is on his final lap. As wait,
Mealy's
we've
fin-
got
has
Mealy's
finished.
here, but Myla has returned. I've not seen Myla in so long. So, Maku, Myla is an absolute legend, right? So this guy, he used to be battling with Black Panther for the title of Best of the Rest, like before
Yeah.
Formula Danny and stuff turned up. So what he used to do is, even when Formula Danny and stuff would turn up to races, he would qualify on the soft tires while everyone else was qualifying on the mediums, just to qualify first or second, and in his own words, just to make things entertaining up at the front. And it was amazing.
That is actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, Myla is fantastic. Also, he is a fellow German as well. As Barney.
That's where his name comes from. I
Barney,
wondered about that because Meile is in German a mile, basically. So
wait, what is it in German?
a mile.
Oh, okay. All right. However, Chosen Bird does put it into pole as Quitter jumps up to second. Speed Booster will take third as Deacon, Felipe Nunes, Iceman, Lu, and Black Panther will not set a final lap as Mealy takes 9th ahead of Safso and Myla in 11th. All right, and that, my friends, is going to be the end of the session. So we're going to be heading over into a short break, and we'll be right back with the qualifying session. Right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get underway for qualifying, and after 30 minutes long of a practice, it's a little bit more gloomy here at Hockenheim, and reminds me a lot of the race in Split A, Maku.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit. You know, we didn't know if it would rain, but it did. at least in my memory, I didn't. And so in the race, it shall be raining at least after 20 minutes, I think. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some different setups in there, and the Mercedes are bouncing out of their garages in my game.
Yep, as we've already got some drivers heading out onto circuit. Lou, one
All
of the
drivers.
first onto track with South just up ahead. And as they say, ladies first, and Lou will be the first one on the track and should set the first hot lap of the session. Sporting that fantastic Halloween helmet. Here we go.
So, and we have our correspondent Calcifer in the pit lane, and you has got some news, so we're gonna hand it over to him.
I just got some right news. There is typhoon coming up in about 20 minutes tomorrow. So it's gonna be really interesting race tomorrow. I'm sure we will see a lot of spinning and donuts. Thank you for your listening.
Okay. Maku, I think we're going to have to be the correspondents in the pit lane because Calcifer's just not doing it properly. Anyway,
But
Lou
wait,
onto
you
a hot
see it
lap.
raining. I think it's.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Our
think-
correspondent in the pit lane can't even tell what's happening. Right now, he talks about a typhoon tomorrow when there is rain on the track right now.
There's no rain in the pit lane yet. There's no rain in the pit lane yet.
Okay, so Calcifer should have gone to Specsavers, but Lou first on the track and will be getting the best of runs. Maku, qualifying might be 18 minutes long, but right now it's all about who sets the first lap and who doesn't mess up that lap. Lou, the rain is starting to come down heavier and heavier with every passing second as Lou makes her way to the end of Sector 2.
Well, we don't know. Maybe if if the rain ends after like 5 minutes, then maybe the conditions in the end of the session will be as good as they are now. But if the rain won't end, then now the fastest times of the session will be.
Here we go, Lou through the final corner. So 1:12.6, that's practically a dry time. So everyone should be able to get in a one dry lap, but South, 2 seconds off the pace. Does he have enough to go for a second lap? He's really struggling. Barney, 1 second off the pace. Who else is close to completing a lap? Deacon will be 1.8 seconds down. Iceman can only make second. Lou on provisional pole. Are we in for the story of the season so far? Iceman half a second down on Lou. Who else is on quick laps? Mealy can only make a fourth. What about Safzo? Safzo comes across the line. It's a 14.1. It's only enough for fifth. What about Speed Booster and Quittert? Speed Booster and Quittert are in Sector 1. They've only just started their hot lap, so this is absolutely terrible as Black Panther has gone into the wall at the end of Sector 1, I believe. So this is awful stuff for Panther in his first race back.
Is it female taking the pole?
It looks like Lou is actually going to be picking up pole here. Let's just go back to Quittert and Speed Booster. Speed Booster is ahead of Quittert and making his way into the Sachs curve now. Anyway, here comes Speed Booster into the final couple of corners. I hope our pit lane correspondent has his engine sounds ready, because we might be having to head back over to him in a second. But here comes Speed Booster. It's a 15.1. It's only enough for 13th. What about Quitter? What can he do? Making his way through the turns 13 and 14 chicanes into 15 and 16. It's very slow. He's on the medium tires. He should have gone for the softs. And it's only a 17.8 Quitter at the back of the grid. In fact, the lap is disallowed. Lou is on pole, and Calcifer, is there any update on the weather?
There's a big storm coming next to the track. It's about 30 kilometers away, so let's see what will happen.
More rain on the way, but that's it, I think, Mako. I don't think anyone's going to improve on these times.
No.
And the best thing is for Lou, she's done a lap on the soft tyres. Iceman did his on the mediums, but we've got a wet race in for tomorrow, so it doesn't matter.
Blue is actually starting another lap in these conditions, but it's not. I don't know why, but because I think you can't do a better time now.
Well, we'll see if Lou can improve. Again, though, we don't know who has gone for dry setups, who has gone for wet setups. There is a lot on the cards right now, a lot to gamble with. Quittert is out on another lap as he's 4.5 seconds off the pace.
We should invite Liu out to the commentate to the post race interview.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
Here we go, though. Lou coming around the final couple of corners to start a lap. I have to agree with you, Mako. I don't think there's any way to improve, and Lou will dive back into the pits. The conditions are getting worse and worse as more and more water hits the track, but it looks like your front row will be Lou ahead of Iceman.
I think the only thing the drivers can do now is practice a little bit in a web. You know, the race will be after 20 minutes in about that.
That is very, very true, and maybe we'll start to see some intermediate tires coming out. And actually, there we go. So those are the tires that everyone set their quickest laps on. Soft tires for the top 4, mediums for Felipe Nunes and Safso. Speaking of Safso, he's been talking to us in the extremely private YouTube chat, letting us know that the race will be starting dry, and then we can make our way into a wet race. Mealy and Weke on those intermediate tires. Iceman, though, let's see if he can actually improve at the moment. It's damp out there, but I'm struggling to see a dry line, and there you go. You can just see the understeer hitting Iceman's cars. No one is out onto the track with those wet tires just yet. Iceman will keep on plodding around just to see if he can find any grip. The thing is, it doesn't look like it's like too wet. This looks like it's still in the crossover point for intermediates.
Yeah, that's why there are a lot of drivers out still there with the soft or the medium compound.
Because as you mentioned, Mako, you know, you can practice in these conditions on your intermediate tires, but as Safso has highlighted, the race starts dry and then it goes wet, so you do want to get some practice in these changeable conditions with the dries, you know, just find a little bit of confidence.
Because that's what we saw in real life this time in Germany, that it started to rain, and I think last time it nearly the same thing. It started to rain, and then it was only a strategy question.
But look at the entry heading towards turn 2, because it's looking quite dry until you get to the braking point. So all of the rain seems to be on the north side of the circuit, or actually I should probably say the east side of the circuit. But I mean, as you mentioned, it's possible that we could get a break in rain, and well, Quitter, Matthew and Money set their times in very wet conditions, so they might be able to find a little bit of time. And
Tetsu just said that the qualifying will only get wetter, so maybe we'll see after the interest, maybe even some full wet.
Yeah, and it's a shame that our man in the pit lane can't give us that juicy information. We have to rely on the drives themselves, Calcifer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell me again.
You know, we were planning myself.
I had some difficulties with my headphones.
Okay, myself, Mako and Calcifer, we were planning on doing like an online co-op career mode, and I see Calcifer's already getting in the spirit of those memes right now. A bit too early for that. We can practice with that tomorrow, you know, after the race is done. But here we go. Everyone is on the intermediate tires now, and yeah, there is no dry patches at all. There is rain across the entire circuit. But again, it's going to come down to who has gone for those wet setups. You know, how soon will the rain be coming down?
Is it actually possible in the game that there is rain? There's kind of a at some points of the circuit there is rain, and some points are really dry, or
I
is
believe
everywhere on the circuit the same?
Calcifer, I think you're the best one to answer that.
Answer what?
Oh my god. Maku was asking, when it rains in the game, do you ever get rain on one part of the circuit and dry on the other part of the circuit?
I'm just trolling. I don't think you can on this year's game and recent years, but you could get this at F1 2014, I think. When we had one league race like that, and it was really exciting and yeah.
Well,
It will
Calcifer's
be
been wrong
exciting if
about
you can-
everything else so far, so I'm going to presume he's wrong about this as well.
Nope.
Here you
Let's
go,
do
though.
a bet. There will be rain everywhere on the track.
Well, I mean, there's no way for you to disprove me. I can only be proved, right? Because if rain doesn't happen, if rain happens everywhere, I'll just say, well, it's just this race that there wasn't rain everywhere. Plus, you were the one who said, while Maku and I were talking about how there was rain on the track, you were saying there was no rain in the pit lane.
Yep. Because I was under the
Yeah,
I was in the house.
Yeah, you were in the hospitality. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Also, hello, Mr. Paku Pelaha. How are you doing?
Sounds like a Finnish name.
I don't know. I probably pronounced it wrong. I do apologize if I pronounce your name wrong. As south
Fuck
goes
off,
sideways.
Oh.
One could say that things have gone a little bit south for him there.
If he's Finnish, then it's Pakop.
Oh, he's
Pela.
reversing around the track? No, he's not. Okay, he's going.
He's reversing like Vettel.
Oh my god. Right, I will say though, when it starts raining in the race, if someone goes off into Sachs curve, I will say, oh my god, it's Vettel! Or, oh my god, Vettel's off!
That we know.
And if someone
Perez
crashes
went
into
off
the
this
final
year.
corner, I will say, Bottas is into the wall! Wait, was it Bottas or Hamilton?
I think
It was Hamilton, and it
Okay.
was Leclerc, and it was Hülkenberg.
yeah, nearly everyone got into
Bottas
this wall.
Yeah, Bottas
Didn't
at the first corner.
Verstappen lost it into turn 1 as well, didn't he?
No, he was on the third sector after the Sachs curve.
Oh, okay.
Those fast left and right
Okay, cool.
before the two right-handers.
I think they should rename Mercedes into... sorry, I think they should rename Sachs into Vettel's corner. Okay, I hope that I never have to speak to Vettel and Vettel listens to that.
But the Sachs corner is the only. This is the only corner which has a real name. The others are just the corners and then.
Mobile 1 is an okay name.
Yeah, well, but it's just like it's the
Sponsor. Yeah.
oil supplier. Yeah.
Oh well.
Uh-huh.
I mean, qualifying is over. You know, we thought after practice we could get to talk about some fast laps coming in, but it was just 3 minutes of hot laps, and then, well, it's the wet weather practice coming in. Black Panther, Weebs, and...
practice and again.
It's a shame, though, right? Because Black Panther, Chosen Bird, Quitter, also quick in practice. You know, Quitter as probably being the quickest person you know, in the entire of Split B in the last few races, and you know, all three of them are starting right at the back, and Speed Booster not even in the top 10.
Yep.
The question is, can they? Maybe they can fight themselves to the top until the rain starts. But then the question is, how good are they in the rain, and how good are the other drivers?
Yeah.
It's basically reverse grid today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
practically. And I mean, this is perfect for the man in second place in the championship, Iceman. He is 14 points down on Speed Booster and starting on the front row of the grid. Safzo also needs to make up some ground in the championship. I think he's currently seventh or eighth. And, well, he'll be looking to rise up the order as well with a good starting position. Hypnotize as well is the other man who can really look to capitalize on this. But 1.5 minutes of qualifying remaining. No signs of changes to the weather. There's just more and more practice coming in from all the drivers. So I'm going to put it to both of you then, starting with you, Maku. Who do we think is going to take this race?
Well, I think Lou has a very good position for the start, but seeing Quichard, I don't know how to pronounce his name, being a very fast driver, I think he can get on the podium if nothing's getting in his way, and he's driving quite well in the rain.
I'm going to go a step further.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. I'll let you finish and then hear what Carl's has to say, and so then I'll say my point.
So basically, I think maybe we'll be seeing something like Luke, Richard, Iceman, the first three, something like that.
Okay. What about you, Carl?
Iceman, Quitter, then Speed.
I'm gonna put it out there. I think Quitter's gonna win this. I think, you know, looking back to what we saw at Britain, Quitter was impeccable, absolutely fantastic driving from him throughout the entire race. No mistakes, whereas we saw Iceman, you know, make mistakes here and there. Similar thing for Hypnotize, and it's wet conditions here for Hockenheim, and I think we're going to be seeing everyone have a moment or so at some point during the race. With that said and done, we have hit the end of qualifying, just waiting for the final few drivers to cross the line, and then we will be heading into a short break, and then we will be right back in for all the action in the race. Make sure to invite your friends over. It should be a good one, a dry race heading into a wet race. We're looking at about 15 minutes in. The rain should come down. Casper will be providing us with regular updates on when we can expect to see the rain.
Yep.
And hopefully he'll actually take his job seriously for once.
Yep.
Alright, pole position though, still out on the circuit. He has seen the checker flag as Money is coming around at the final couple of corners. He's got Quitter just a couple of corners further back, but it looks like the times in these wet conditions, 24 for Money. Let's see what Quitter can pull out, because he's going to be the benchmarker, you know, no matter what conditions we are in.
Yeah. And let's take a look at the qualifying results. Complete.
Right. Let's go. Also, hello to Jean-Jacques Herpes. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. Pardon me. Lou takes the pole ahead of Iceman. Barney and Mealy round out the second row of the grid after getting out onto track nice and early. Felipe Nunes takes fifth ahead of Safso, Toffee, Weke, and pole position. So 6th to 8th is separated by only 0.06 of a second. Deacon takes 10th ahead of Hypnotize South, Speed Booster, and Money. And then Matthew Quittert, unable to get a lap in the dry conditions, starts in 16th ahead of Myler, as Black Panther and Chosen Bird were unable to set any laps. Black Panther crashing out in qualifying. We're going to be taking a short break, and we'll be right back.
Yep.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at Hockenheim for the race. The red lights are out and off we go for the formation lap. As we mentioned, Lou takes her debut pole position in ORL after getting out onto the track and nice and early to start her hot lap. Iceman takes second ahead of Barney, Mealy and Felipe Nunez. Safso was the second to set his hot lap as the rain fell in qualifying. He lines up in 6th ahead of Toffee and Weke. Pole position and Deacon round out the top 10 as Hypnotize starting all the way down in 11th. However, his championship rival Speed Booster is only 2 places behind, with the Renault of South separating the two of them. Money takes 14th ahead of Matthew as Fast Driver Quitter looking to join Split A at some point, starts in 16th, unable to get a lap in the dry conditions of qualifying. Myler takes a 17th ahead of Black Panther, who spun in qualifying and DNF. Weebs takes 19th ahead of the Chosen Bird in 20th. In the championship standings, Speed Booster is in first with 146, only 14 ahead of Iceman. Hypnotize sits another 15 points behind as Black Panther makes his return to the racing scene. He's in 4th place on 93 points. Mark is not racing today. He's on 81 points as Quittert is 6th place on 70 points. And Maku, if you'd like to take us through the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, so basically with Mercedes leading with 128 points, then Williams, McLaren in 3rd, Haas in 4th, Ferrari in the 5th place, Racing Point, Renault and Alfa Romeo in the 8th, and Red Bull and Toro Rosso at the end. Very poor for the Red Bull team.
Here we go. All the drivers are lining up on the grid. F1 2019 ORL Split B are ready to go here at Hockenheim. 16 corners, 34 laps, a 2.8 mile circuit. Starting on pole for the first time is Lou, but it's 5 red lights, and away we go. There's a few penalties for jump starts. It's dry to start off with, but look at Iceman. He has a massive moment off the start, losing the back end, and Barney will jump up into 2nd place, but look at the gap that Lou has already pulled. Weeds has retired from the session already. Iceman down the inside will reclaim 2nd position, but look at Safso. There's contact between him and Mealy, and Safso's off into the grass. Big incident through turns 3 and 4. So many penalties are flashing up on the screen. I don't even have a chance to read it out, but there is a virtual safety car and a break to the race, Maku.
That was a quite interesting stuff, especially that Lou gets away that well. She is, I think, she will keep that in that distance to her opponents, but wow.
Yeah,
That was a crazy start.
As you mentioned, Calcivan, absolutely nutty start to the Hockenheim Grand Prix. The virtual safety car is still out, but the drivers are looking like they are giving it their all right now.
And it's back to race time again.
And we are back to racing. Quittert up into 10th after starting down in 16th. Black Panther and the Chosen Bird making good ground, but Hypnotize and Speed Booster have not made any real inroads. Lou trying to stretch out her lead at the front of the order, but Iceman closing in. Only a 5/10 gap, but let's take a look at Quittert, who's trying to close in onto Deacon. Might look for the inside into turn 2, but not this time round. DRS is yet to be enabled. But look how close Quittert is. We'll pull to the inside straight out of a turn 4. Down the inside through the Parabolica as up ahead, Felipe Nunes and Toffee battling into the hairpin. Felipe Nunes round the outside will have a better traction and will pick up the position.
And already two Williams and a Terrosa, I think, were in the garage. I think it's changing the front wing.
Also, Iceman has crucially taken the lead as quickly as you like from Lou. He needs to stretch out that gap as quickly as possible because Quittert is hunting down the battle that stretches up all the way to 4th place. Toffee will be the first on his list in the Ferrari.
Yeah, I think Lou lost a lot through the virtual safety car. Even though you shouldn't lose that much time, but I think she nearly had 2 seconds after the start.
So many time penalties coming in as South is into the pit. Safso is in 14th after contact between him and I can't remember who, I think it was Mealy, but Quittert up the inside as further up ahead. Look at this, Weke having a look at Felipe Nunes, or more specifically Nunes round the outside. Can Weke get a decent drive? Felipe Nunes will though. Now round the outside into turn 7 he will go. He has the inside into Mercedes and he will pick up the position and move up into 4th place. But look at this, Quittert is right behind and will be looking to pick up the pieces. Oh, has a bit of a moment with the rear as he makes his way into Mobile 1 down the inside. Speck of dirt on his visor. Hopefully that's not a sign that the rain is here yet. Quittert probably wants to try to make as much gains as he can in the dry conditions where it is easier to overtake. DRS enabled as well. Mealy has DRS onto Felipe Nunes. It's a 3-4 for Red Bull right now. Also, Lou sticking to Iceman maybe could look for a move. As actually, speaking of looking for moves, Quittert down the inside into turn 2 will make his way up into 5th position. Has already gained a whopping 11 places in the first 4 laps.
And Speed Booster's also overtaken Deacon.
Oh,
and I think
look
he's
at this,
also
though.
making his way.
Mealy, he wants revenge on Quittert around the outside into the hairpin. Won't be able to make it work, though. Quittert holds on to 5th place. Lou, though, very close to Iceman as Barney can see them in his sights. But Quittert, after starting so far back, is within 7 seconds of the lead as Mealy drops behind Weke. Heading into Mobile 1. Hypnotize struggling to make any inroads, but Safso doing a good job after getting spun out on the opening lap, has climbed back up to 13th. Meanwhile, Black Panther and the Chosen Bird struggling 16th and 19th respectively. But let's sit on board with Quittert here because he is closing in. As actually, Felipe Nunes.
Oh,
something's happening down behind. I'm not quite sure. Mealy has spun out of turn 1 and he's dropped well down the order. Safso moves up into 11th. So Barney spun. I'm not sure if that's what caught out Mealy or not, but something has happened. And while all of that's been going on, Quittert has found the move onto Felipe Nunes and has moved up into 3rd place. And we're seeing spots of rain now as well, Maku.
I just saw that Speed Booster, while overtaking Paul, had made a quick move to avoid colliding with something. I didn't really see what it was, but that was after turn 1 too.
Here we go, though. The rain is coming down, Maku. This is going to be changing everything. The drivers had a chance to practice driving in the wet conditions with the dry tires. They know what to expect from these conditions. It was the exact same setup that they used in qualifying. That's the setup that they're on in the race. Parc Ferme conditions. Up ahead, though, Lou getting very, very close to Iceman. And are we potentially seeing the difference in the setups? Has Lou gone for a slightly wetter setup than Iceman has? Because she is so close. DRS has not been disabled yet. And this might be her best chance of the race to regain the lead. Down the inside she goes into turn 6. Iceman will try to hold it around the outside. Lou will not squeeze Iceman wide, and as a result won't be able to get the traction. Speaking of traction, Iceman having a bit of a moment with his back end, but look at Quitter, close as you like, starting all the way down from 18th place, and is right on the tail of Lou, and is well in this battle now.
So as we predicted, we'll see those three battling in the front, and Speed Booster is now up into 6th. Maybe is showing up to the other 3 in the front.
And obviously, with only 6 laps having been completed, yeah, Iceman dives into the pits. He's the first of the pit stoppers as Quitter. Oh, massive moment coming out of the Suda curb. Closest you like to Lulu has a moment, and Quitter will take the lead of the race on lap 7 of 34. And look at Felipe Nunes, he's closing in as well. He wants to join the fun. But Maku, I'm kind of curious now as well, because Iceman, with such an early pit stop, he's gone for the hard tires. He hasn't even gone for wets. This is absolute insanity from the Haas drivers, and Felipe Nunes looks for the inside as Lou will leave the door open and will get a much better drive. Speed Booster up into 4th place as well, has dispensed with Weke, but Iceman going for the hard tires. Is he insane?
I don't understand what he's trying to do with his strategy, because the hard tires, you could go for the soft tires if you have like front wing damage or so, to do another few laps and then go into the intermediate, because it's raining until the end of the race, I think. Yeah, because with the hards you won't be able to drive.
So does Iceman then think that the rain isn't going to come down hard enough and he's just trying to use both compound tires? Seems very questionable to me. I forgot to check what... I'm sorry, obviously he started on soft tires, but look at Quitter, a 3-second gap. He's only been ahead of Lou for 1 lap. This is absolutely mental. Quitter is absolutely on fire right now.
So basically next year you should do something like the super license in Real, that the first one of the
we're going to have to hold that thought.
Go to the A split.
Felipe Nunes down the inner side he goes. Lou will be forced to yield the position as a Red Bull makes his way up into second. But Lou, though, gets a good drive. Not good enough, though, it seems. Potentially have a look into Mercedes. No, we'll have to concede 3rd place. As the Chosen Birds picks up a time penalty, but I'm not going to lie here, Maku. I've not had a chance to write down penalties, and I'm not going to start now.
Neither. Me neither. We can look at the race director afterwards, but at least at the start there were already like 3 penalties at once.
Yeah, 3 people did jump the start, but look at Felipe Nunes powering away. So Quitter and Nunes, potentially they've just gone for the wet setup, but they are also on those medium tires, so maybe the soft tires have seen the best of their life go, and, well, it seems that the life of the soft tires is just not enough to last until the track gets wet enough for those intermediate tires. Hypnotize moves up into 7th place as pole position has spun out of turn 1 through the Nord curve. He drops all the way down into 13th place, and that is disaster for the Mercedes driver.
Even though Mercedes is leading the Constructors' Championship. And the funny thing was...
he loses the back end again!
Yeah,
bad to us.
Maybe.
Okay.
The funny thing would be, if Lou would have taken 1st place in the end of the race, she would have like tripled their points.
Lou in the Williams. Actually, let's take a look with Mealy. I want to see how Mealy does because he's on the Inters, but he is struggling so much. So it's really not time for Inters just yet, as Mealy is so far off the pace. He's just getting absolutely... I don't know if he's ghosting, actually. But...
Yeah, I mean, neither. Looks like, but not
I
really.
mean, the ghost would not crash his Mealy into the wall. That is his race over. Just can't find any grip on those intermediate tires. But look at Speed Booster having a look at Lou as they make their way into the chicane of turns 2 and 3. Speed Booster down the inside will pick up the position.
So Speed Boosters is now up in the battle for first.
When you say up in the battle for first, he's 9 seconds off the lead, but
yeah, but he's getting close. I mean, Kucher is like already gone. He's doing his own race now. I think nobody will be able to catch up to.
Let's keep an eye on Hypnotize though, because he's on the hard tires, as is Deacon. A very interesting choice for tires, I do believe, but I think this is just Hypnotize and saying Deacon saying, we don't know when the rain will come down hard enough for Inter, so we want to make 100% sure that we get to that stage without having to waste a pit stop beforehand.
Yeah, but that's quite a good strategy, I think.
As Mealy has joined us in the chat, unlucky dude. 11th place loss. I'm almost made it into the points, but just couldn't get those intermediate tires to switch on. I guess they just never got enough heat into them. Hypnotized though, closing in on to Weke as Lou is finally into the pits. Please tell me it's intermediate tires. It is intermediate tires. Now, we saw Mealy struggle on those, but Lou, can she find the pace? We have to keep an eye on what kind of times that Lou is setting as. Oh, up ahead, Hypnotize gains 2 places and is up into 5th, as there's a massive cluster of cars here. Iceman battling with Safso. Remember, Iceman has already pitted. Here we go, heading into the hairpin. Safso down the inside, as Hypnotize runs really wide. So I'm not sure if there was contact there, as there's a McLaren back behind who's lost the back end. That's Weke into the grass. And now Hypnotize has dropped behind Iceman and Safso. Iceman pushes Safso out wide. The rain is still falling, but not hard enough yet. Hypnotize will have to settle for 7th. And Safso, remember, he had an incident on lap 1 where he got clipped. I can't remember who it was by. I think it was by Mealy. And now is climbing back through the field, doing a great job. Here we go, though. So I want to take a look. Deacon, 120.0. Iceman, 120.1. So it's low 20s from everyone. Now, I want to see... actually... Let's take a look at what Black Panther does as well. Let's see how far off the pace he is. It's a 120.9, so he's almost a second off. Now, Lou, this is what we need to see. What kind of lap time can she pull out? She's 3.6 seconds behind Black Panther right now, and she's actually falling back at the minute, it seems.
Yeah, Weke got penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But there are already 4 people out on intermediates right now, so I think.
Well, 5 now that Weke is stopped.
Yeah, now it's 5.
Right, we'll switch over back to Lou at the end of her lap, but I can't see her getting even below a 22. She's falling so far back from Black Panther, and she's going to overheat those intermediate tires, and she's going to have to pit again. So the early stop for Inters just really has not worked out for her.
Yeah. But it's like, I think that this is the lightest rain I've ever seen in the F1 game, because it's raining and you can still drive completely with the medium soft and every dry tire.
Is DRS enabled or not yet?
Yes, DRS is still enabled. And yeah, actually, that's interesting that you bring that up, Kazava, because it's surprising that anyone would pit for Inters when DRS is still enabled. But just as I say that, if we look from Hypnotizer's perspective, it looks like the rain is starting to come down a little bit harder now. As actually, Calcifer, do you have any update for us on the weather situation?
Seems like it will stay like that, but it's a 40% chance that it will rain harder.
Okay, so we saw in the in qualifying as well, it was 112s, 113s being set, 120s now, so at least 5 seconds off the pace of what they'd be if it was completely dry. We must be so close to that cutoff point, but I mean, just look at Lou. Look how much time she has lost from Black Panther. She's 13 seconds down. She was 6 seconds behind 1 lap ago. So 7 seconds a lap or something disgusting. She is losing. And that is just really unfortunate as... the Inters are just not working. Anyone who stopped for Inters is just not going to be able to get into the points.
Yeah. The other thing is, looking at the track, it looks completely dry. So basically, the rain doesn't affect the track.
Yeah,
and there's not even one person, or one driver who has like a lot of oversteer or something like that because of, I don't know, slippery track.
So Lou comes across the line. It's a 1:28.1, 8 seconds off the pace. Toffee is in the pits and puts on the intermediate tires. Oh no. He does not know what he's going into here. Oh.
So basically...
Oh, Paul's run wide. Okay, wait, he's getting out, so he's just getting out of the way.
So basically, I think the other ones, the drivers in front will just drive a normal one-stop strategy or something, because as long as the rain isn't affecting the normal tires, you can drive them.
Yeah. We'll have to see whether Iceman's strategy works, because he stopped very early on, as Mila is just falling down the order so quickly, just can't get, those tires are just overheating, and the Inter is just really struggling for pace. I'm interested to see when Paul positions into the pits, actually. Is he going to bang on a set of dry tires now? You might be expecting so, and yep, there you go. The hard tires are ready for him. Pole position has decided enough's enough, and as actually all the tire colors come through there, but pole position back out onto hard tires, and now we're probably going to see the rain coming down hard, and he's going to have to jump back into the pits or something.
I think... No, wait. Oh, hypnotized in the first lap. Oh wow. No, it was Iceman what we were talking about. I think he could maybe get on the podium place if he can bring this tires until the end of the race.
However, Safso has just taken 4th place, so it's a Haas 1-4 right now. They're currently sitting down in 4th place in the championship, and well, this will be enough for them to jump ahead of Williams, and they can take 2nd. And with Mercedes having a really bad day, it's only Hypnotize who's picking up points. Haas will be very close to even jumping ahead of Mercedes. I think it's what, 45 points that are on offer for winning and coming 2nd.
What, from which team?
If you get a 1-2, how many points does the constructors team get? Oh, Safso has a moment, actually. Deacon down the inside into turn 3. Will he be able to get the drive? DRS is still enabled in these really, really slippery conditions. Safso will take the outside into the Parabolica. Here goes the Deacon round the outside, heading into the hairpin. And Iceman might be looking to join in the fun, but Safso will cut back to the inside. Deacon reclaims 4th position, but Safso really struggling on these medium tires. Maybe now is the time for him to come into the pits, but he has to decide, does he go for the intermediates or does he go for the hards?
So if you get a 1-2, you get 43 points as a constructor.
43 points. That would take Haas up
25
to...
and 80.
Yeah, so there'd be 3 points behind Mercedes if they got a 1-2 and Mercedes scored no points. So they can't take 1st, but they will be taking 2nd at this rate because They are only 17 points behind. Safso drifting into the Sud curve. He's losing so much time onto Deacon. His tires are shot, but Iceman is into the pits for the second time this race, as is Felipe Nunes, as is Hypnotized. Now the question is, what tires are getting picked out? Is it not going to be intermediates? It's going to be a set of... Wait, it is intermediate. So, is the rain coming down hard enough now? 3 of the top runners into the pits for intermediates. Can they make it work? Nobody else has so far. I don't know. It's a really risky strategy. Safso. Deacon still battling for third place. Safso really late on the brakes. Almost runs into the back of Deacon. But he's somehow able to avoid the incident. As let's take a look. Black Panther is on the intermediate tires as well. Now, there aren't any medium tire drivers near these guys. Actually, Black Panther, where is he going to come out in? He's going to come out ahead of Toffee, but I can't see what lap times Toffee's doing. Weke is out of the race. Chosen Bird onto the intermediate. So, maybe it's raining hard enough now.
Yeah, maybe. It looks kind of like, if you're... According to the rain I see, the game shows me, it's maybe a little bit wetter, so...
Quitter and Speed Booster are into the pits. They're on the intermediate tires as well.
Yeah, then it's slowly getting that wet that you can go to the intermediate. Yeah,
Safso
as
in the
well
pits.
as Safso.
So Safso is into the pits. The Deacon and Speed. The Deacon is going to be the only one out. In fact, Quitter and Speed Booster are able to complete their pit stop, and they still come out ahead of Deacon. They have such a massive lead. As Iceman's left the session, what's happened up here? Let's try to ride on board with Hypnotize. He should be able to see the incident unfolding. Hypnotize through turn 1. Where is Ice? No, Iceman's just disconnected. So, it's not an incident, it's just a disconnect.
But his car isn't going, and he's just sit around. That's weird.
DRS has just been disabled.
So yeah, it's getting really wet now.
Yeah, the rain is starting to come down. Black Panther picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. Lou down in 9th place, but just being out for too long of those inters, and will those inters even last to the end of the race? Safso on the intermediate tires. Let's see when Deacon comes into the pits if he can rejoin out ahead of Safso. Quitter 38.3 on those intermediate tires. What speed boost are going to do?
As you say that Typhoon is coming, so pit crew is packing their things and leaving.
Alright then. Deacon into the pits. It surely has to be a set of intermediate tires. As Christopher said, the Typhoon is on the way. Full wets may be required at some point. Here comes a Deacon, but crucially, where is Safso? Safso's already on the start-finish race. Safso surely is going to be jumping ahead of a Deacon, and he will do, and by an absolute margin as well. Hypnotize will be coming out not too far behind, so it seems that Hypnotize pitted a lap too early, and Safso and Quitter pitted on the perfect lap. Iceman, though, is in 4th place. In fact, Safso was very close to Iceman beforehand, so they've come out very close together. Deacon just running too long on those tyres. Safso can see Iceman up ahead, and Iceman, I don't know if he's disconnected or if he's just tootling around as a ghosted car. Meanwhile, Quitter still leads the race, 12 seconds ahead of Speed Booster, who's a further 19 seconds ahead of Felipe Nunes. A big gap between these three, as Safso and Iceman looking to close in for 3rd.
Can you re-invite
Can I re-invite who?
Iceman?
Oh, yes, I can. I shall do that now, so I'll be on a pause screen for
Because
a
he
little
should
bit.
drive. He should have the opportunity to drive his race until the end.
Yes.
If it's just a network error.
Or maybe I don't like Iceman and I won't re-invite him. Ha 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 ha. No, okay, I did re-invite him.
I have power.
Yes, Iceman has rejoined. Great, and hopefully we will see that ghosting car stop ghosting very shortly. Yep, he's back in. So Iceman still ahead of Safso, and it looks like McLaren still have a great chance to pick up some big points, as do Haas and Renault as well with Speed Booster. Speed Booster looking to extend his championship lead over Iceman, but Quittert looking to pick up another 25 points and jump up to 4th place in the standings. And looking to pick up another victory as well. We don't know what time penalties everyone has, but we know, Maku, that there are a lot of penalties.
Yeah, we had a lot of them already at the start, so and we will on another load of them, I think, because especially in the track limits are not that easy to hold.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like we're anywhere near to full wets either. And I'm looking down to 9th place man, or I should say 9th place woman, Lulu. Sorry, Lou? Just Lou. Sorry.
Lou.
Lulu. Sorry, I was getting my mind confused with the League of Legends for a second. It was kind of weird. But Lou is in 9th. Speed Booster sweeps around his teammate South, as South gets well out of the way as a lapped car. Speed Booster still 12 seconds behind Quitter. That gap is not closing it down at all, but Felipe Nunes is falling back from Speed Booster just by about half a second a lap, it seems.
Yeah, there will be a lot of them. A lot of the drivers have to pitch, especially people like Lou and Mila, because their tires are already 10 laps old, and they surely want.
Oh, but look at the rain right now. I think it's full wets. Iceman, Safso both run wide. Safso's really closing in onto Iceman, but the rain is really coming down. Calcifer called it. The typhoon is on its way. Surely we're going to be seeing the full wets coming out. Mila is going to be the first to blink. He's into the pits, but he's putting on another set of intermediates, and oh.
You think that's a mistake?
I think he should have waited a lap just to see this rain, because I don't know what Jeff's saying, but it looks like the rain is coming down harder, at least from my perspective here, Maku, is Safso really closing into Iceman. Felipe Nunes is getting closed down as well. No more DRS. Safso will be looking to pick up that 4th position. Quitter, though, is pulling away from Speed Boosters as the conditions once again change.
And look at these first 3. Philip Nunes has 20 seconds to Speed Booster, and Speed Booster has 13 seconds to quit. They're just half a lap away.
Massive, massive gaps. Barney and Paul have put on new intermediate tires, as has Myla. Will anyone go for the full wets? It's... Oh, Iceman loses the back end. Safso picks up the position. Iceman will not go into the barriers, but he will lose a place. He's 6 seconds off the pace. Last time round, it was only 3.8. The conditions are getting worse and worse. Let's see what kind of lap time Safso is able to put in, and let's just try to keep an eye on the degradation of these lap times.
So maybe we get the chance of someone...
Oh, someone's off in the grass. That's Felipe Nunes. Safso with a 1:25.0 that time around. So, remember when they were on the slick tires, as Felipe Nunes, it looks like he has medium tires on his car, but when you look at the data, it says that he's on intermediate tire. Safso, though, will take the position. There is no way Felipe Nunes is on dry tires right now.
No, then he would have been gone way more often just a little bit.
Here we go, Felipe Nunes having another look at Safso on the dry tires as well. But Felipe Nunes, can he get the traction round the outside, as Iceman has a perfect view on what's going on up ahead. Side by side they go into turn 7. Felipe Nunes locking up Safso, picks up a third place as Chosen Bird moves ahead of Toffee. Lou has peeled into the pits as Quitter picks up what I believe is his first penalty of the Grand Prix. Also, Deacon closing in onto Iceman, and Hypnotize is not too far back either. Now, Safso. Oh, as Speed Booster sets the 125 as well, so the times haven't got too much worse. But what I wanted to say before, Maku, was when they were on the dries, they were setting 120s, 121s. They're only doing 125s now, so the pace hasn't dropped down that much as Safso throws it into turn 1. Matthew picks up a time penalty.
Yeah, but the weather is getting worse as you're looking from the onboard camera. And I think it will be time for full wet soon because, well, these intermediates are already a few laps old on the most cars, and maybe there will be some people who try to throw it with the intermediates until the end. But I think the best choice after a few rounds will be the full
Iceman and
wet
Nunes have a bit of a coming together. This might allow Deacon to look for Iceman heading into turn 8. Through turn 7 they go, and into Mercedes. Iceman has enough of a gap. Hypnotize still 2 seconds down on Deacon, but it is Safso who's in third, ahead of Felipe Nunes, as Iceman is in 5th. Oh, Iceman runs wide, and this might give a Deacon a great chance as they head in towards Sachs Curve. Deacon, though, is a bit too far back and will just keep hold of 6. Won't look for anything too aggressive just yet. But once again, will anyone peel into the pits? No, they will not. 10 laps remaining of the Hockenheim Grand Prix, and with the rain coming down more and more, is anyone going to blink? Is anyone going to go for those full wets as Felipe Nunes picks up a 3-second time penalty as well? Wow, Felipe Nunes really getting those hard tires to work.
That's a funny thing because I just looked a bit you can have the telemetry so that the game puts out something like the lap times
actually,
or
Iceman
something.
just goes down the inside of Felipe Nunes. There's Nunes, tries to get the power on but loses the back end. But continue with what you were saying, Maku.
And they are actually putting out the actual tire compound too, and they make a difference between the tire compound that is visually on the car and the tire compound that the game simulates.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why they do that, but that's maybe why we see this issue.
Yeah. Felipe Nunes are down into 5th place now. He's looked like he's had the pace, but he just keeps on struggling every now and then with traction. Quitter has still got a whopping 13.5-second lead to Speed Booster, who's at 24.5 seconds. But Felipe Nunes, he pulls the pin and into the pits he goes, and he is the first one to do so. Now, what is awaiting the Red Bull driver? Is it intermediates or is it full wet? In we go. It's looking like it's another set of intermediates. So this will be Felipe Nunes' final stop, and those intermediates just must have been worn out for him. The question is, Maku, do the others at the front, and when I say the others, I'm talking about Iceman, Safso, Deacon, Hypnotize, do they need to make a stop as well, or can they make it to the end of the race? The pit stop has only cost Felipe Nunes about 16 seconds, so it's not a longer pit stop here at Hockenheim.
Well, I think they should do, especially if their tires are, I don't know how their tire wear is in the rain, because, you know, it can be very difficult of how you drive if you have a lot of, if your back is like a lot of, and yeah, you know, so basically the other stop, there were some people who stopped after 12 laps on intermediates, and there were some who stopped after 8, so
yeah, and I think, as you mentioned, it does come down a lot to driving style, because if you drive really smoothly on the wet tires, you're just putting less load, less heat into them, so they shouldn't wear out as quickly. But You know, if you're kind of throwing it in, locking up, sliding it through corners, and just losing traction here and there, you can wear out those tires so much quicker.
Yeah, and especially in the wet tires, the condition of the tire is very important because it's very slippery as soon as they
Alright, Hypnotized closing on to Deacon still. The Money picks up a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, pole sitter Lou down in 9th place, 20 seconds behind said Money. And I don't think she's going to be able to gain any inroads. In fact, Black Panther closing in onto Lou. Has slightly older intermediate tires, but I'm sure will still be looking for a chance to make a move, as we're having a 3/4-way battle emerge for 3rd place. Safso getting closed in by Iceman, Deacon, and the Mercedes of Hypnotized in 6th place.
You know what I just thought about? What compound do the intermediates and the wet tires actually have? Because they're wet tires, of course, they have their profile, but what compound of rubber is it?
It should be like extremely soft.
You think?
Yeah, because it's all about getting heat into wet tires. So you need tires that, hence why when it gets dry they overheat really quickly, because it's very, very soft rubber, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah, and the rain is cooling it down.
So I'm pretty sure.
As long as you're driving.
Yeah, it'd be like if F1 had to make another thing after like Hypersoft, like their hyper softs, that might be like intermediate.
Yeah.
However, Safso under attack from Iceman. Safso goes to the inside, immediately retires from the session. But here we go, Iceman around the outside into turn 6. Safso will hold on to the position as we see Renault in the background of Weke, but he has been lapped. He is unimportant in this battle. Deacon closing in onto Iceman right on his tail now, has Hypnotized only 8/10 behind. He was just over a second last lap. So these 4 are really starting to bunch up now. Oh, as Felipe Nunes having a bit of a moment coming through turns 9 and 10. He is 12 seconds down on Hypnotized, so he's closing in. Remember, he was 14 and a bit seconds behind, so things are looking good for Felipe Nunes on the fresh intermediate tires.
Why was the chosen bird just ghosting a little bit?
So 25.6 from Deacon. I want to see what Felipe Nunes sets on this lap. I want to find out how much he's closing it in, as is a 24.4, so he's closing in by just over a second a lap. But with only 5 laps remaining, it just does not have enough time unless these guys really start to feel the effects of tire degradation.
It seems like the Williams do randomly goes. Oh, I think that's the new blue flag thing, because they're getting blue flagged, and I think they are then invisible or something for the drivers. Okay. Wasn't it like that?
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, but it takes like the
oh, chosen bird. As you mentioned, the Williams are battling through turns 3 and 4. There you go. Chosen bird round the outside will pick up the traction, and Black Panther falls outside the top 10, but Lou is the target for both of the Williams drivers. They're currently sitting second in the championship. Here we go down the inside. There's contact between the two of them, as it seems like all 3 drivers are ghosting. Lou drops back down to 10th, and Black Panther really struggling for traction as Quitter will sweep around. Actually, Black Panther letting Quitter through there, pardon me. But both Williams are up into the top 10 now. However, Chosen Bird seems to be that little bit quicker than Panther. Meanwhile, up ahead, Deacon starting to fall back a little bit from Iceman, as Safso is doing a great job of holding on to that final podium position. They're now 28 seconds down on Speed Booster, who is a further 15 seconds behind Quitter, who has just been absolutely impeccable once again tonight. And you have to wonder, when is he going to be getting the call up to split A? It has to be sometime soon, because he is just too quick right now.
So basically, Kuchert could do 2 pit stops without being out of the podium, and he doesn't even need to drive fast anymore.
Wow, yeah, that's true. Oh, wow, yeah. Because we said a pit stop's, what, 16 seconds? So he'd come out well into third. In fact, yeah, he could do a pit stop and he'd still win the race, probably. So,
Yeah.
Look at the rain, though. It is really chucking it down now, Maku. What kind of times are these guys going to be setting? It's still 125 at threes. Felipe Nunes, though, is closing in. He's only 10.2 seconds down, but with the 4 laps remaining, 24 flat, so it's not closing in by enough. But Hypnotize is right onto the back of this train. And another 3-second time penalty for Felipe Nunes. We don't know how many penalties these guys have accrued. So the top from 3rd down to 7th might all change around after the penalties come into play.
Yeah, that's a funny thing, because we haven't written down the penalties, and they were a lot. So basically, it can change around the order. I mean, Speed Booster and Kuchert are like far away of that. Kuchert could have 3 5-second penalties, and Speed Booster nearly 6. He would be disqualified if he does, but
yeah, and obviously, as you mentioned, a few disqualifications may come into account. Don't forget, 5 penalties or more in ORL, and you get an automatic disqualification post-race. However, Safso, Iceman, and Deacon still battling hard for 3rd place. Safso, I mean, you can feel the pressure, but Iceman has never had a real chance to look down his inside, but he is so close. You have to feel that he's going to get a chance at least to go for that final podium spot. Although they know what the penalty situation is between each of them. I'm sure Jeff will be alerting them to that. And we're just stuck a little bit in the dark here.
Calcifer is cheering for you.
Oh god, I saw him cheer for Black Panther.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Here we go though, Deacon just trying to get that run in the Alfa Romeo. But all you can really do in the wet is just so hard to overtake. You just have to wait for someone to make a mistake.
Yep.
Felipe Nunes 8.2 seconds down on Hypnotize, but he's just not going to be able to close that up with 2.5 laps remaining.
You won't have the DRS.
Oh, Deacon has a moment. Oh. Deacon runs wide as they enter into Saxon. Hypnotize will have a chance. He tries to get the cutback, but Deacon will hold on to 5th place, and that's a mistake that you just can't be making in these final few moments of the Grand Prix.
Nope.
Yellow flag in Sector 2 as well right now. It's got nothing to do with our front runners. Felipe Nunes is pushing like mad. Another 24.4, but he's 7.8 seconds down on Hypnotize and Deacon. It's just such a shame that he had to go for that second pit stop. I don't know if it was necessary. Maybe he just thought everyone else's tires would start hitting the cliff.
Yeah, our own tires were just undrivable, so...
Here we go, though. Quitter enters his final lap over the race. He's got Black Panther just ahead of him. He's lapped everyone up to and including 11th. We haven't spoken about Quitter much since, what, lap 8 where he took the lead.
Quitter, yeah, something like that.
Wait, Quitter's really struggling right now. Barney has just flown past him. Quitter's running out of fuel.
Oh no. No way.
Are you kidding me? In the final moments of the race, we have this.
In the wet.
I think his tires are gone. He's all over the place.
What is he doing? Oh no.
Does he have I think he's missing part of his front wing.
Wait. No. looks complete.
Speed Booster is 10 seconds behind. Speed
Oh
Boost is
my
also
God.
struggling with fuel as well, potentially. No, he's
No!
not. He's fine. Quitter
Quitter spun,
spins.
Quitter-
What has happened to Quitter? And here comes Speed Booster. He is
he has a
thanking
puncture.
his
He
lucky
has a
stars.
puncture. Oh,
It's
Quitter
a
has a puncture on the
puncture.
left.
On
Yeah.
the final lap, we mentioned, Maku, that he could pit and he could still win the race. Maybe he should have gone for that. Just too much tyre wear. Safso, any issues affecting any of the other runners? No, it's not. Speed Booster loses the back end into Sachs. It's all going from bad to worse. Safso, can he close in? He's 36 seconds down, but Speed Booster comes around the final corner. Are you kidding me? From the back of the grid, Speed Booster will take the win. Meanwhile, Quitter making his way through the final couple of corners. A puncture on the final lap of the race throws another win down the drain. Quitter takes second, but here,
Oh no.
absolute crazy scenes on the final couple of laps as Myler goes sideways through the final corner. Safso will take third. Iceman picks up fourth. Deacon takes fourth as Iceman, with so many penalties, he drops down into sixth place. Great news for Hypnotize and Speed Booster in the championship. Felipe Nunes takes seventh, as Money and Chosen Bird should be taking 8th and 9th.
So Milky, Mr. Ghost has now to drink a bottle of vodka.
Does he?
Yeah, or 7th place, because Navadovsky won a race in F1-A.
Oh yeah, we had to mention that next time we saw Mr. Ghost. Yeah.
He is in the chat right now.
Yeah, I see.
He was in the chat. I think he is still.
Wow. Quitter lost 30 seconds on the final lap.
Yeah, that is. He was throwing the win that much away. He
could have pitted. He could have
for the
pitted and
pit
still
stop
won.
with- yeah. Because if he had pitted like 4 laps ago, well, I think overtaking was it Speed Booster wouldn't be that complicated for him.
Wow, Speed Booster takes another win, and I'm not gonna lie, if this was a real podium, I do not think Quitter would be celebrating. That
No,
is
not at all.
disastrous.
I think he couldn't even smile.
Well, we're going to be having interviews with him if he decides to join us. However, final confirmations then. Speed Booster takes a win after Quitter suffers a puncture on the final lap of the race. Just look at the difference in lap times between all of these guys. Hypnotizer takes a third after Safso, Deacon and Iceman have penalties between all of them. Iceman drops all the way down to 6th place. Felipe Nunes takes 7th ahead of Money and Chosen Brit, who almost picked up the fastest lap. Fastest lap, though, does go over to Quitter. Lou takes 10th place after picking up a pole, as a Black Panther with 4 penalties won't be able to secure that final points position. Toffee takes 12th ahead of Myla, South and Weke, as Matthew, Barney and Paul, as well as Mealy and Weebs, round out the grid. As we'll just quickly run through the incident points, as, oh my god, look at the amount of jump starts there.
Wait, really?
Yeah, so many.
What?
Wow.
1, 2,
right,
4, 5,
but there we
8.
go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to
Really?
be taking a short break, and we will be right back with some driver interviews. So let us know some questions you would like us to ask. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for some post-race interviews. Let's start this one off with our race winner, Speed Booster. I mean, qualifying went a bit disastrous with the rain coming in so early, but you quickly made your way through the order.
Yeah, well, qualifying was a big disaster because I wasn't expecting rain to fall right away. So when I went out for that lap, it already was damp. And the race start was a disaster as well, if I compare it to Quittard. I mean, he immediately passed it, and then I got stuck behind some people as well as in the virtual safety car. Lost about 10 seconds to the Delta. But yeah, somehow I got lucky and managed my way through.
What were those conditions like? Because we saw a lot of people going in for the inters very early on, and it did not pay out for them. What was the trick for you, finding that right moment?
Actually, I was paying attention on what Quitter did. I wanted to come in like 1 or 2 laps earlier, and in the end, that probably would have been the better idea. But sadly, yeah. So. No, actually, I wanted to go really 1 lap earlier, but I saw you were staying out, so I was like, nope, I'm staying out as well. I don't want to have a disaster myself then in the end. So, yeah. I mean, I don't think my tires were that bad. I think my left rear was only at probably something around 60-ish.
Going on to you, Quitter, as well. You had a similar issue to Speed Booster. You couldn't get a lap until the rain was really pouring down. But that race start, you were up into first by lap 7. Just talk us through that, because that looked incredible.
Yeah, the quali, I thought the same as Speed Booster. I thought it was raining much later. So I couldn't put a lap in, but yeah, the start was pretty on a 2 in front of me got a really bad start, and one on my left had a false start, so there were 3 easy positions. First corner, everyone was going wide, and I go on the inside. Same on the second corner. So that was I think in first 2 corners I came from 70 to 10 or something, and that's from then on was a virtual safety car, which was a lot of in the plus, like +8 all the time. So that was really weird. And yeah, the weather sucked.
And then, I mean, I'm sure you don't want to really talk about this, but what happened on the last lap?
What happened on the last lap? Yeah, I was still pushing because I thought, oh, let's make that gap pretty big. But in the last lap, the rear of the car just felt really weird, and on the first corner of the last lap, I just didn't have any grip. So I watched the tire stats, and it was 100% on the left rear. So scheiße. And yeah, from there on, I think I lost like 30 seconds, 40 seconds in the last round. So yeah, so be it. But yeah, still, beginning was fun. The rest was just cruising around.
Right, and Safso, you made it a 2-3 for Haas, but if I remember correctly, that you were involved in a bit of an incident through turns 2 and 3.
Yeah, so I actually got a decent start, I believe, going down the inside of Felipe into turn 1, and then I saw, I think it was Milai, not having a great exit, so I tried to go down the inside, which then turned to the outside. I think either I cut in a bit too early, or he accidentally turned in on me. That sent me round. I'm not sure, but I think that also set off the VSC. So, not the greatest of starts, no.
Fair enough. And then towards the end of the race, you had a bit of a train forming up behind you. What were, tire conditions like, the track condition? How much pressure were you feeling at that point?
Well, there was quite a bit of pressure because obviously it was the final podium spot. I wanted to desperately hold on to it. In terms of the track conditions, it looked like it was getting heavier, but it didn't actually ever feel like it. The laps, for me at least, were fairly consistent. So, in terms of the track, that never really changed. And so I wasn't under pressure in that way. And then in the tyres, it's obviously a bit harder than with the dries because it's much easier to slip with the wets, all that. But I was able to manage them well enough, and yeah, I was just relying on them to get to the end and to get me that final spot.
great stuff from you. And moving outside of the podium spots now, Iceman, you had a very early pit stop. I think it was like lap 6 or something. What was the thoughts behind that? Did you have an issue?
Iceman is muted.
Iceman is muted. Oh, he has no mic. Okay, so he's just spying on us then. Okay, so finally then we'll move on to Black Panther.
Yes.
Right at the end, it looked like you had almost picked up the final podium spot, but time penalties came into play. How hard was it to keep it on the track?
What podium?
How hard was it just in general to keep the car on the track in those wet conditions?
It was tough because I had a front wing damage because Mateo, or whatever his name is called, or how you pronounce it, brake checked me. So I had to drive all the time with a broken front wing. And I jumped to start also, so that wasn't ideal as well. But yeah, I love these conditions, to be fair, because I was gaining on them, but not a good day overall.
Right, and moving to Lou. First ever pole position, getting out on track right at the start, and coming out of the first couple of corners. I think you had something like a 2.5 second lead. You must have been feeling really good at that point.
Well, I think I had a pretty good start. I started leading with Iceman, and then everything just went to shit, to be honest. It rained for like 6 laps. I'm not really used to this game in like mixed conditions, and I just went in for like my softs were gone, so I went in for inters instead of for another set of softs like Iceman did, and I was losing like 9 seconds lap, and then my inters were gone by the middle of the race, so it was a disaster. I was really lucky in qualifying. I thought I had a little bit of like better pace in the dry, to be honest. I was like, going back and forth with Iceman and stuff. The people on mediums always were gonna have the advantage anyways, but I did try and go for pole in the first like 4 seconds because the sky was like really dark and it didn't look good.
Well, congratulations and thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. We hope to see you again, well, in the future races, although I'm not sure if we're going to be able to stream the next one.
Ederman, thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye.
Bye. Right, so Maku. Wow, that was a bit of a crazy race. Before we do sign off, any final thoughts?
Phew, German weather can just annoy, and that's basically it.
I mean, we've had some very entertaining Germany races now. I've now seen 3, and they've all been really exciting. So
yeah, look, that's why Germany should stay in the calendar.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Germany should.
At
there
least,
we go. At least for the F1
Germany.
game. At least for the game.
Yeah.
The F1 game calendar should be different from the IRL F1 calendar. There we go.
Maybe next year they're going to implement some other tracks for F2s, for example.
That would be very exciting. However, that's all that we have time for tonight. Speed Booster picked up the win after Quitter, 14 seconds in the lead, suffered a puncture heading into the final lap. Safso took third, making it a 2-3 for Haas, and they will jump up the standings, we believe, up into second place, but we await confirmation on that. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Next week, we are going to be back at 7:30 GMT for Split A as we make our way to the Hungaroring for round 12 of the season, I do believe. Sorry, round 12? I think round 12. Round 12 of the season. So we hope to see you then. If you haven't already, do follow us on Twitter. You can follow ORL at team_ORL, and you could follow Maku or myself using the links there. Thank you once again for joining us. Have a good night, guys, and stay fast.
Good night.